In the past 14 months, I've made over $150,000 through the world of virtual sales, including over a $32,000 month back in March of this year, 2025. And in addition to the straight commissions that I've earned as a sales rep, I've also coached over hundreds of students inside of one of the top sales training programs in the industry, including helping multiple students get to 5 to 10K plus per month in straight commissions. Now, in this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact step-by-step process that I took to make over 6 figures my first year in sales. And I'm talking every single step of the process. So you guys will have the literal blueprint that you need to understand exactly how I did it and how to become a high-level sales rep. Now, quick disclaimer, this video is going to be packed with detail and golden nuggets. So if you don't have the focus or the attention span to watch this video, take everything in and absorb the information, then I'd probably just click off this video now. But for those of you who do actually want to understand what it takes to succeed at a high level in sales and actually build a career and eventually build wealth out of it, then I recommend you watch this all the way through and listen very, very closely for what I'm about to reveal to you. Now, first, let me be clear about what this 30K month actually represented. Now, this wasn't beginner's luck. This wasn't a get rich quick result or anything of that nature. This was 11 or 12 months of me putting in blood, sweat, tears, energy, effort, a bunch of sacrificed time and experiences so that I could develop my skill set and develop who I was as a person, right? And this is also included doing things that most people won't do, right? Which is learning from mentors that do take a very large investment, investing in myself and my skill set. Most people don't even do that to begin with, but I did it at a very, very uncomfortable level because I invested over half of my net worth, over 3/4 of my net worth, in fact, into a coaching program. So I started as an appointment setter the first 5 months on a real estate wholesaling offer. I was DM setting, and then I eventually moved into hybrid. So I was outbound dialing along with DM setting. I was running basically the full setting process of this info product and coaching program, which helped me learn how a business is ran, but B, actually having a consistent work ethic and putting the time, energy, blood, sweat, and tears and effort into developing myself in a certain skill, right? So that eventually led me to become, taking calls on a low ticket calendar where I was handling objections. It was a downsell program for the same offer. And after 5 months, I actually made the switch into being a closer full time. And I wasn't super confident to begin, but I just did it because I knew that I was going to bet on myself. Now, before I break down the specific tactics and aspects of being a high-level sales rep, you need to actually understand the foundation that made it possible for me to even make over $30,000 in a single month and over 6 figures in my first year. So the first tactic is skill development, right? By this point in my journey, I had spent 11 months developing who I was as a person outside of sales, developing my, physical aspect of myself, right? My physique, dialing in my nutrition, right? But more importantly, developing my communication skills, developing how to properly objection handle, developing how to be a leader on sales calls and hold people to a high standard and hold them accountable to the life they want, but they physically haven't done what's necessary to achieve what they've wanted. So I have to be the one that gives them the tough love and gives them the truth to show them the path forward, right? Along with building out my own frameworks, right? Managing setters on a closing offer, right? And actually mastering the SOPs and what it means to be a good sales rep and a sales rep that the business can depend on. So skill development was one thing, but more importantly, developing myself as a person, which leads me into my next point, which is I had to have a major shift in my mindset, the way I had my thoughts arranged and the way that I went about my thoughts on a day-to-day basis, right? Like I mentioned, I developed myself in my physical aspect with my nutrition. I developed myself mentally. I started to have a spiritual relationship through daily routines, through consistency, through tracking macros and, calls and systems, and just really having a process and a routine in place within sales and who I was outside of sales. Because again, the greatest players in professional sports aren't just people that crush it on the field. They're people that crush it off the field. So you have to have both if you want to perform at a high level, because sales is a sport at the end of the day, right? So I had to develop consistency and a work ethic that allowed me to ensure nothing fell through the cracks. Now, the right opportunity is the third point that I want to hit on that allowed me to actually make $32,000 in the month of March. The right opportunity, I was on great offers pretty much my whole time in sales, other than in the very, very, very beginning when I was kind of in the trenches looking for something good. Now, the right opportunity came along at the right time, because if I would have got the opportunity that I had in March, which was a massive launch in the info product space, our team collected $1.7 million in about a month or so, right? Massive launch, one of the biggest the space has ever seen. And if I had that opportunity before I had actually developed myself and my skill set, I wouldn't have been the top closer and I wouldn't have performed the way that I did, because I wouldn't have been able to align my skill set and align who I needed to be to lead people in the right direction, because I would have just probably been an average rep on that team, made a little bit of money. But no, I went above and beyond because of who I was as a person. I went above and surpassed everyone and actually had the results to show and had the skill set to actually be the top performer on that team. So the right opportunity paired with the right person, the right skill set, and the right work ethic, all of these things combined helped me become the person that I needed to become. Next, I want to get into the actual numbers that I was able to do in March when I made $32K in a single month. Now, this is a post that I made in March at the end of the month, and it was actually April 1st that I posted it. But I saw this quote that said, "A lot can happen in the month of March, trust God." I saw this around my birthday, which is February 16th. So I saw that quote and I was like, hey, I'm gonna screenshot this. That hits hard. Like I'm trusting God in the month of March. And I said in the post that I made on April 1st, I posted a screenshot of this quote in the first week of March. Over the past month, everything I've worked for over the past 11 months came to reality. Here is a look into how the Lord blessed my life with the fruits of my labor. My biggest month so far, $32,449 in straight commissions. I became a coach inside a closer cartel. I was the top closer on one of the biggest launches in the info product space, and I had a record close rate and cash collected for that month. So all the blood, sweat, and tears I put into building myself, my skill set, and my mindset was all for this moment. And everyone will see this and they'll say you got lucky or it was luck or whatever they want to tell themselves, but nobody saw the late sleepless nights that I had. Nobody saw the self-doubt that I was going through day to day. Nobody saw me questioning my skill set and my purpose and my confidence. So no one could tell me anything, and a lot happened in the month of March. Now it's time to push for more, but trust God. So that's something I posted. Now, to give you guys the actual numbers from the launch that I was on in March. So I made about 9 or 10K in commissions from one offer, and my close rate was about 50% on that offer. It was an e-com offer. So I had 71 scheduled calls. I had 36 live calls that actually showed up. And then out of those 36 live calls that I had, I pitched or gave an offer to 34 of them. So pretty much all of them. So I had 30 closes out of 34 calls and 3 deposits. And in that week that I made $22K, I had my biggest day ever, which was like $4,500 in a single day. Now, next, I want to go over the daily routine and the daily process that actually helped me generate these results. In terms of my morning routine, right, what I was doing and what I still continue to do consistently up until this very moment. So the first thing that I do is I'm getting up before 6 a.m. The first thing that I do immediately is I rehydrate myself. So after I do that, I come in and I immediately get into my daily devotional and into the Word of God. So I read Proverbs every single morning. Now, Proverbs, what it is, it's the book of wisdom. Basically just explains how to be a follower of Christ and just be a good person and live a life of abundance and wisdom. And then second is B and MBS is body. So body meaning get in the gym, do some sort of workout, get your body moving, get your blood flowing. The third thing is M. So I just started doing this, and that's listening to either some sort of motivational message or some sort of piece of sales content just to get my mind in the right place for the day and get me prepared for what's to come for that specific day. So mind, body, spirit, you hit all these consistently in the morning and watch your life transform. Now, I didn't start calling it that until recently because, again, I learned it from a mentor, but I was basically doing MBS during this launch and, well before that as well. So the mindset, the physical aspect, and then the spiritual aspect, all of these things helped me be prepared for the day and, help me sustain not burning out through a day where I was literally taking calls from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. for the launch. So I was taking the most calls, I had the best skill set, and all these things combined with the right opportunity helped me actually be able to make the money I wanted and make the most amount of money that I've ever made in that period of time. I made over $4,000 in a single day, and that was absolutely, unfathomable to me at the time. Now, every day that I don't hit, or every month that I don't hit 30K a month is under my standards. I'm selling life insurance, I'm building a team, and I'm gonna be back to 30K months very, very soon. Obviously, you gotta take a step back to take 2 steps forward. That's a little bit about my morning process, preparation for the day. And then in terms of like my actual process throughout the day, again, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Everyone says that, the person that takes the most calls, that gets on the most sits, right, has the most people show up, talks to the most people, that person will 10 out of 10 times make the most money. And it's 100% true, because the more people you talk to, the numbers don't play out evenly, they play out eventually. So the more people you talk to, the more money you're gonna make naturally. But in terms of my process, that's what it looked like for me on a day-to-day basis, and literally just doing the most amount of inputs that I could, paired with keeping myself sharp mentally from a solid morning routine. Now, the specific strategies that worked for me and that actually made the biggest difference during the month. So I would say having a strong, solid morning routine, right, is obviously first and foremost. But number 2, making sure your nutrition is absolutely dialed. Now, when it comes to the actual selling side of things, what it specifically comes down to is the ability to be consistent and have your 10th call of the day sound like your first call of the day. And the reason that I was able to do this for, the month of March, where I took in total, I think I took over probably 80 or 90 sales calls, right? Maybe even close to 100. So I was basically taking like 3 live calls a day. I had to make sure the last call of the day sounded like the first. And it's obviously easier said than done, but you have to ensure that you're staying sharp, and that comes from eating the right foods. Now, despite all the success that I had back in March, I did face a couple different challenges and obstacles that I had to overcome. So it wasn't all smooth sailing, right? And the biggest challenge that I probably faced was the ability to stay consistent throughout a period of time where I'm just grinding. It is hard to stay consistent. However, it is necessary in order to be a high-level producer and sales rep. The one thing people don't talk about enough is the mental side of virtual sales. So especially when you're having a big month. One thing I heard from a mentor very early on when I got into sales a couple years back, in door-to-door actually, he said, no matter the highs, the lows, you need to stay neutral. You need to stay even-keeled. You need to stay consistent. You can't let the high months get to you, and you can't let the low months get to you either. So pressure, is a huge thing, especially on launches. It's like all hyped up and built up, and you don't want a huge launch to just shit the bed, right? But pressure pressure makes diamonds, as they say. So the high pressure, the high stakes, right? I perform the best when my back's against the wall and when I'm under pressure, because I'm forced to perform. Now, the third last thing that I want to talk about within the virtual sales space is just managing your energy and your focus and being very, very intentional with your inputs. You have to have intentional energy and focus and intentional inputs, or else you will not reap the fruits of the harvest and of the work that you do in that little bit of time. Sales isn't something you get into part-time. Sales is something that you go all in on. You go 100% all in. You go 100% balls to the wall, and you do everything in your power to get good at sales, because if you're part-time in sales, you're going to get your ass kicked. and that's just the honest truth. The biggest lessons that I learned from March making a lot of money is it's not about the money. What it is about is the type of person that it takes to make that type of money. There's a saying where it says it's not how but who. So that's the biggest thing, the biggest piece of advice that I can give you. It's all about who you become in the process and who you become in order to actually attract the things in the life that you want. Now, consistency, lesson number one, consistency beats perfection. Number two, focus on serving and not selling, because if you try to sell, right, you need to focus on actually helping the person and actually providing value, and your commission check will reflect how many people that you help. Three, systems, routines, all of these things create success and consistency, which in turn get you the results that you want. And then lastly, your skill set and who you are as a person is going to determine the amount of money that you make paired with the right opportunity. So now I need to be completely honest with what this month actually took. It took a lot out of me: time, energy, sacrifice. I had to sacrifice eating the best food at times. I had to sacrifice seeing my girlfriend at times. I had to sacrifice doing fun stuff for this whole month. I've sacrificed my last year of college. I sacrificed everything, and people called me crazy. People made fun of me, but they're the ones that are unfulfilled, and I'm the one that became the type of person that built the life I want and became the man that I want to become, and I'm still learning and growing so much. Despite the success I had in high ticket, you might wonder why I've transitioned to life insurance. And main thing, high ticket sales helped me become the type of person that I wanted to be, become confident, become good at communicating, articulating my words, sales in general. But life insurance is a long-term opportunity. It's not quick cash. It's actually building a business, and it's building something that is long-term, that can create wealth, and that can actually help me become a multi-millionaire and actually be the vehicle that helps get me to the wealth that I want to achieve for me, my family, and my future self, and my future, family to come. Skill set of sales, it transfers over to different industry, but it's transferred over, and I am, pretty solid. Still have a lot to learn in the industry. My vision though is building a massive team, building a massive business, because I can help a lot more people in starting life insurance than high ticket sales, and more importantly, actually put myself and the people I'm helping in a position to become millionaires as well. The skills I've developed to generate $30,000 in a single month: communication, sales, objection handling, building rapport, all these things are great, and they've transferred over to life insurance. But now I'm building something that has more potential long term, more impact. Now, if you follow everything I've just given you correctly, and more importantly, you pair that with the work and the time and the energy to develop yourself as a person, to develop yourself in the sales skill set, there's no doubt that you can achieve the results that I have as well. But having said that, I'm not going to pretend that you won't encounter some obstacles and face some challenges and have doubts and uncertainty. This took me over a year of developing myself skill-wise and as a person, learning from the right mentors, investing in myself, right, and making a lot of mistakes. If you guys, have any questions on anything I've went over, feel free to reach out to me either on YouTube or on Instagram. My Instagram is @JacobShero with 2 W's. Now, if you follow everything that I've laid out in this video to a T, you took very good notes, and you just follow step by step what I mentioned, you will not only develop yourself as a person, but you will get very good at sales. And if you actually put in the work to develop these skills over time, I have no doubt that you'll achieve the same exact results as I did, and hopefully even more. So I hope you guys got value from this. Please like this video, drop a comment, please subscribe, put notifications on. It truly does, help me out. And I do appreciate all the love and support that I've gotten and will continue to get as I go on this journey. And then most importantly, if you want to change your life and you hate your current situation and you're unfulfilled and you actually just don't know how to build the life that you want, but you know that you're destined for more, hit me up on Instagram @JacobShero with 2 W's, and we can chat. I would love to be able to provide someone with the opportunity to change their life through sales, and going from there. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for supporting. God is great. Deuces.